I'm reading on Idaho 4 with this new deck that's available. This is an older case. It's one that I've read on many times before. The reason I want to read on it is a couple of reasons. It's because when I designed this deck, I designed it with the Idaho 4 in mind. So there's a lot of cards in here that fitted the kind of structure of that case, and I knew that it was going to help bring through a bit more clarity on that case. And I've never used it on that case, and I've always wanted to. Well, it popped up in my YouTube studio yesterday, that case. Somebody had been commenting on one of my older videos and asked if I do a reading on who was the real intended victim for the Idaho 4 and do a spread for each person to see if I could see who was the intended victim here. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do a spread first of all to see what it wants to reveal about the Idaho 4 case, and then I'm going to take a look at each of the 4 victims to see which one feels to be more like the intended victim. This deck is on my website, now available. It's a limited edition, which means there's only a small number print run. Once they're gone, they're gone. And the product is attached. Okay, one side is tarot and the other side is oracle. So this is your tarot and this is your oracle side. General spread first. What do you want to reveal about the Idaho 4 case? That's Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. Now this one, I don't know if that Hierophant wants to come out, but it's sitting there like it wants to come out. So the Hierophant wants to talk a little bit about the law enforcement in this case. This is the stalker energy. King of Swords, execution, sword. Exposure to do with the authority, law enforcement. The negligence around how this case was handled. And there's an element to this case that involves paid services. Okay, so what this card wants to reveal, what the spread here for the first one is, there was a level of negligence around how this case was handled, perhaps being exposed. There is a stalker element here, being watched, being followed. Just because I say that, it doesn't mean I'm saying Bryan Kohberger. Now, in my other deck, this is interesting because in my other deck, the deck that I normally read and have read Idaho 4 on all times, the card that linked himself to Bryan Kohberger is the stalker card. And it's not because I'm saying he's a stalker, it's because the image in that investigation stalker card looks like Bryan Kohberger looking through a window. So this is what I think they're saying. This is representing Bryan Kohberger, not necessarily representing stalker energy. It's representing Bryan Kohberger. So what it's done is it's linked Bryan Kohberger to this card in this deck, equivalent to the one in the investigation oracle. Because remember, I've never used this deck before in this case. So what they're now saying is that the authority, law enforcement, are exposing or are being exposed for the negligence within this case related to Bryan Kohberger and the conviction of Bryan Kohberger. It's not so much conviction, it's more the evidence surrounding why they've linked Bryan Kohberger to the case. There was a bit of negligence there that's finally being exposed by authorities. Or if not yet, it will be. The execution is the King of Swords. Maybe they want me to do a spread about the actual event as far as because what they're focusing on now is the case itself, because I did say that going in. I said about the case. So they're showing me how the case was handled. There was a level of neglect there. I wonder if somebody got paid off because of the other cards they're wanting to talk about here. So I'm more, when I first saw that card, I thought, okay, there's an element here of drugs are money. It's a service, it's a job, or something to do with the video footage, or some kind of cameras, or something their service that gets paid for. That's what I first thought when I saw it flip out. But now that I think what they're showing me, because they're talking about how the case was handled, I'm seeing and I'm wondering, and I'm not making accusations. This is all alleged and entertainment purposes only. It's just simply card reading. But I'm seeing here, connected to this whole scenario, is payoff in some way. Doesn't mean money, it means trade, payoff in some way. So now I'm wondering if I should do just a quick spread on, before I get into each of the victims, because I've been wanting to do this for a very long time, use this deck on this case, the actual sword, knife, the actual execution of the situation. Let's do that now. This is wanting to talk about how the case was handled. Okay, show me the actual execution of the case. Not the case, the event. Show me the perpetrator. Show me why this happened. This card fell on the ground, and it fell this side up. Okay. I'm just going to listen to see if anything comes through while I've got this spread out. Yeah, am I seeing some money? Biggest thing I find very interesting. Yeah, that one there gives me wealthy person vibes. I'll get back to that. But over here, after everything I just said about this, this card is attaching itself to Brian Koberger. It falls out as card number 1, but it's sitting on top of the group. So it's showing here, allegedly, entertainment purposes only. There was group involvement in this when I'm asking about perpetrator and the actual event itself. There's group involvement. And they walked away scot-free so far. I asked why it happened. The theft of something. Could that be substances? Money? That either costs money or lost money, or money, the money of those, that product was taken, being the reason. So a group was involved here. A syndicate, a loyal syndicate that are not going to rat each other out as long as they stick together. But they walk away scot-free. Who left the scene? Perhaps by air travel. Immediately after this happened. Left the country maybe. Walked away scot-free. Wealthy. So even if it was Koberger, because this is the card that I said wanted to attach to Koberger to represent Koberger as a perpetrator, there's a loyal syndicate. There was a group involvement, and the group involvement walked away. Who's the person? You can put it in the comments. because of greed, money, something that was claimed to be stolen, lost, or loss of money. Let's take a look at each of the victims, because I definitely feel, and interesting because on top of the deck is the courier. The courier is either the DoorDash driver, one of the drivers, and I say it in all of the readings, it always comes up in the Idaho for case, or a courier is a person that delivers the substances. That's another reason the courier card was made. But an important factor of this case is the courier, delivery person, or person dropping someone off, like delivery, the courier in some way is an important aspect of this case. Okay, I've never done this before, but let's take a look at each of the victims and see who was the intended victim. Let's start with Maddie. Okay. Maddie was relocated and moved. Allegedly entertainment purposes only. Maddie was at the scene. She witnessed something. So therefore, she succumbed to the Ten of Swords, which is a death in the minor card, through swords, because of what she witnessed. So she wasn't the intended victim. Because she witnessed something, she met the swords, and I hate to be so insensitive with this, because there's such beautiful energy here, and please know this case is devastating, and it has really affected me. So, but I've got to deliver the message from the cards here, to deliver the message that needs to come through here. And they're saying that she was at the scene, she was a witness to something, and therefore she had to meet the Ten of Swords. But she was relocated, her body was moved. So maybe it didn't happen in the way that we're being told it happened where she was. There's movement, body movement right here. The person that did this was mentally unhinged, outraged, angered. You know what? And it's not even rage. That would happen by somebody that is connected to her, as in, when there's a love interest, for instance, causing, it's not that kind of rage. They're showing me the Joker rage is what they're showing me. So they're showing me this person that is this with Maddie wasn't for reasons of love or jealousy or anything like that. It was, this person is just unhinged. This person is, I don't even know if I want to say it, but sick, unstable, mentally unhinged. Okay. So I don't think that Maddie was the intended victim. Let's look at Kaylee. Was Kaylee the intended victim? Okay, I pulled an extra card here because I felt one of the cards may have been not meant to come out. So I pulled this card here. Okay, so there's ties to Kaylee and this person. Kaylee has ties to this person, the perpetrator. The Lovers brings temptation. The Lovers can also talk about relationships. Things, okay, exactly what I said in opposite to Maddie. So Maddie, I didn't feel the connection being a relationship or a past relationship or somebody that was pursuing Kaylee and unrequited love or stalking her from afar and I wasn't picking that up around Kaylee, but I'm picking up this energy around this person coveting her. I know it says covering, but pursuing her for lustful energy, but it can also be didn't want her to be with anybody else. So what the cards are saying as far as is Kaylee an intended victim? I feel yes. It can be because that she was a liability and they're tying up loose ends, or that she has ties to this person. There is regrets around either a relationship or regrets something done within. There's some kind of regret that's taking place here. And as I said, I felt like there was a card that didn't suit, that didn't meet. That's why I pulled the extra card. So possibly it's this card. So covering, Four of Wands, covering. The 4 victims. Tying up loose ends, the 4 victims. But I do feel there was pursuit for her. And that was intended. Because of that passion energy. Okay, let's take a look at Xana. Going on around Xana's energy. Delays, red tape. Delays around okay, so in that first spread, when I said the money, something stolen, I feel a bit of a connection here in Xana's energy. Because again, we're seeing like money being, she was carrying a lot of burdens, a lot of responsibilities, a lot of stress around a situation or a group of people. So there was planned revenge, targeted attack, planned vengeance, strategic maneuvering. Maybe she was look, delays means can be late. It can be late with payment. It can be late with something. I do need to pull another card now. Interesting, because the card you saw fall out and I put it back was the King of Pentacles. The financer, which is interesting. The financer with these ones is showing, I need one more card for this one. Did she owe money to somebody? It's completely different energy to Kaylee's energy. External factors. Okay, going back to somebody being outside here. Why are you showing me delays? What does delays mean? Bureaucracy, delays, what does that mean? The card that it flipped up, 5 of Pentacles, exploitation. It's money. Money. Delays with money. Like I said, I was wondering if she owed somebody. Delays with money. This is all alleged, just entertainment purposes only. Okay, revenge. Revenge. May not have even been, I wonder if it's connected to her mother, like, because I'm seeing like planned vengeance. To do with somebody that lost money. It feels very different energy here, which makes me wonder how they're both connected. They feel to have two different reasons, Maddie, Kaylee, Ethan, Xana, and I wonder how they're connected. Outside, I wonder if it's outside of the four people. Someone outside of the four people to do with money or being exploited or exploiting a situation. Inheritance can be family, passing down debts, passing down burdens. That's what it is, passing down burdens. Inherited burdens passed down from external, outside of the four victims, to do with the financer, to do with funds or money being exploited. Delays being late and planned vengeance. Yeah, the history of, read those cards. History. There was an argument that escalated. Mother figure. Very interesting how those cards just fell like that. Okay, let's look at Xana. Ethan. Ethan, please. Okay, was Ethan the intended victim? He was at the scene. A witness. Much like Maddie's energy. In a risky situation. Maybe took unnecessary risks. Crime of opportunity. He recognized somebody there. Ethan was a witness and he recognized the person. Premeditation. Interesting female energy there. All female energy, actually. Premeditation. Look at those two cards. They're definitely giving me vibes. So Ethan knew the person and would have put that person at risk or that person's story at risk. Okay, show me how Maddie and Xana's story is connected. Moon means no, so it's not straightforward. It's kind of masked how there's a connection between the two lines of or narratives that's playing out here. Inheritance can talk about, as I mentioned before, can talk about family inheritance. So is there a connection within families in some way? Xana and Oh, no, they're not related. That's not what I'm saying. Maddie. Sorry, not Maddie. We're talking Kaylee and Xana. Inheritance. Something passed down from families. A breakthrough or discovery. Breakthrough discovery. But masked. It's not surface level. The connection is beyond, because no, moon can mean no, but it means it's not completely clear, but there is some kind of injustice around the whole thing. The word I'm hearing is injustice. Family related. Okay, emotional motive, water involved. So I saw water involved and I thought water means emotions. So it's showing a bit of an emotional motive. Now, when I did the four spreads, the two that had the strongest motives, seemed to be Xana and Kaylee. The other two seemed to be just witnesses. So the connections here may be that there was motives for each, for Xana and for Kaylee. Not surface level, but there is motive. So does it mean this? It's the same group of people It's the same group of people. Revenge. Somebody seeking planned vengeance or revenge. Somebody was wanting to back out of a situation or trying to get out of something. So somebody was seeking revenge to do with substances. I'm just rapid fire letting the cards talk. To do with drugs or alcohol. That was stolen. Tell me a story. Entertainment purposes only. The handler. The Queen of Pentacles, female. What is the role of the handler? The female Queen of Pentacles. They were impulsive. Being very secretive about certain information, not wanting to get certain information out. Worried about something, a secret that was discovered. Somebody was supposed to keep a secret. Spirit on the other side. Exculpatory evidence. Somebody's keeping secret information that is exculpatory evidence. There's a missing weapon. Tell me more about the missing weapon. Okay. There was co-conspirators. Co-conspirators, a group of them. Loyal syndicate. Either planted DNA or they left their DNA behind. DNA that was never checked, which comes back to that first spread of negligence in the way the case was handled. There's a lot of DNA in this case that has not been revealed who that was. And that DNA is connected to the group or the co-conspirators. So the weapon was handled, and don't forget we've got the word handled, by the group that took care of that. The loyal syndicate took care of that. It was actually an accident that night. Maybe in front of Brian Koberger's house. There was definitely an accident. Something happened with an accident that night that was pretty significant there. I wonder if it was connected to somebody in the group. Okay, final spread. So there is entanglements in this case beyond the 4 victims. This is the family dispute card, but it's the family card is showing entanglements beyond the 4 victims. Now, the closure of the case, look, these are really interesting cards, and I don't know which one to start with, because what we're seeing is that justice is being impeded or obstructed because exculpatory evidence is being hidden that would close the case. So instead, they would just want this case closed. As far as he pleads guilty, case closed. So then any entanglements within this case are not revealed. And some of those entanglements that are currently obstructing justice for the rest of the group, or justice on the rest of the group, is because somebody has exculpatory evidence. And that evidence related to the other people, even if they'd done check the DNA, that could be exculpatory evidence. But instead, the case just gets closed. He pleads guilty. And therefore, any entanglements outside of the 4 related to the loyal syndicate, the group that we kept seeing in the spread, gets closed or cleared. And we have departure card on the bottom. They got out of there. Left town. Very interesting things that have come out with this this deck. I've been looking forward to reading this deck for some time on this case. And I haven't done a true crime reading for a very long time. So let me know if you want me to get back into true crime reading. Let me know if there's anything you want me to read on. Let me know your thoughts on this case. And what do you think about the cards that came out? It is all entertainment purposes. It's all alleged. There's no facts here. It's just card reading. But I hope you enjoyed the reading, and thank you so much for watching.